Eve, welcome back.
Hey, Chris. Thanks. It's good to be here. What can I do for you today?
Today I want to talk about Abraham.
Sure. Let's talk about Abraham. What aspect would you like to focus on first?
Okay, so God created the world. We had Adam and Eve. They've had kids, made it up to Noah and Noah's Ark. So Abraham, I'm guessing, is around 2200 BC.
That's a reasonable estimate. Abraham is often placed around 2000 to 2100 BC in traditional chronologies. What would you like to explore next about him?
So, whenever you think of Abraham, you think of Father Abraham. Father Abraham had many sons had Father Abraham.
Exactly. The idea of Father Abraham comes from his role as a patriarch. He's considered the founding father of the Israelite nation and a key figure in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Okay, so after Noah, all the people, the Tower of Babel or Tower of Babel, and then they all spread it out. So it's been a couple of centuries. So now it's time to basically start populating, I guess. So God had a covenant with Abraham, right?
Yes, exactly. God made a covenant with Abraham, promising to make him the father of many nations, give his descendants the land of Canaan, and bless all the families of the earth through him.
Okay, and where does Abraham start? Is he already old, or do we even know what age it is when Abraham is introduced?
When Abraham is first introduced, he's already 75 years old. He starts out in Ur of the Chaldeans and later moves to Haran before God calls him to go to the land of Canaan.
Okay, and with Abraham, do we have any historical evidence?
There's no direct archaeological evidence specifically confirming Abraham as a historical figure. His story is considered part of ancient tradition and religious texts. However, the general setting and lifestyle described in the narratives align with what we know about the ancient Near East during that time period.
Okay, and you said he's like the father of the patriarchs?
Yes, that's right. Abraham is considered the first of the patriarchs in the biblical tradition. His sons and grandsons, Isaac, Jacob, and Jacob's 12 sons, are seen as the patriarchs of the Israelite tribes. This lineage is central to the narratives in the book of Genesis.
Okay, so Isaac, is there any significance to Isaac?
Yes, Isaac is very significant. He is the son of Abraham and Sarah and the child of the promise. His birth was considered miraculous because Sarah was very old. Isaac is also central to the story of the binding, where Abraham is tested. Isaac later becomes the father of Esau and Jacob, continuing the covenant line through Jacob, who is also known as Israel.
Okay, and does Abraham have something to do with Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yes, Abraham is connected to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. He intercedes with God on behalf of those cities, asking if they would be spared if even a small number of righteous people were found there. Despite his plea, the cities are ultimately destroyed due to their wickedness, but his nephew Lot and his family are saved.
And where does Hagar and Ishmael come into play?
Hagar and Ishmael come into the story before Isaac is born. Since Sarah was initially unable to have children, she gave her maidservant Hagar to Abraham to bear a child. Hagar gave birth to Ishmael, who is considered an important figure in his own right, especially in Islamic tradition. Later, after Isaac's birth, there was tension between Sarah and Hagar, leading to Hagar and Ishmael being sent away. Ishmael is traditionally regarded as the ancestor of many Arab tribes.
So during this time, it's still not the time of kings and stuff yet, right? So this is focused on a Pacific area?
Right. This is before the time of kings in Israel. The narrative focuses on a patriarchal era centered around semi-nomadic tribes in the region of Canaan and the surrounding areas. It's more about family clans, covenants, and their movements, rather than established kingdoms or empires.
So everyone knew who Abraham was?
Not necessarily everyone in the ancient world, but within the biblical tradition and the communities that descended from him, Abraham was a central and revered figure. Over time, his legacy grew and he became known as the patriarch of the Israelite people and a key figure in the religious texts of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
I have one of those meta quests, where you can travel, and someone brought me to where they said this is where Abraham was supposed to sacrifice Isaac, and it's fought over even today.
Yeah, that's a significant site. The location you're referring to is traditionally identified as Mount Moriah, which is believed to be in Jerusalem. It's a place of deep significance and is indeed a focal point of religious and historical importance, often associated with the Temple Mount. It's revered in multiple faiths, which is why it's still a contested and highly significant spot today.
So during this Abraham time, how far are we away from Christ?
Abraham is traditionally placed around 2,000 years before Christ. So, from Abraham's time to the time of Jesus, it's roughly 2 millennia.
Okay. So before we get into Jacob, I just want to make sure we covered everything from Abraham and Isaac. Is there any more significance we need to know?
That's the main overview. The key points are Abraham's covenant, the birth of Isaac, and Isaac's role in continuing the covenant.
Did Isaac get married and does it mention his wife or kids or anything?
Yes, Isaac married Rebekah. They had twin sons, Esau and Jacob. The story of how Abraham's servant found Rebekah and brought her back for Isaac is also a well-known part of his narrative.
Okay, and what about Sarah? Is there any more significance on Sarah that we need to know?
Sarah is significant as the mother of Isaac and the matriarch of the covenant line. Her story highlights themes of faith and fulfillment of promises, especially with the birth of Isaac in her old age. She also has a notable moment when she laughs upon hearing she would bear a son, which is why Isaac's name means laughter. Sarah's life and legacy are central to the story of the patriarchs.
And Abraham, do we know how old he lived to be?
Yes, according to the biblical account, Abraham lived to be 175 years old.
Okay, so I think that'll be all for right now. Eve, thank you.
You're welcome, Chris. Anytime.